have to be mainstream. You have to mainstream everything that we say you do. And you go, what are you talking about? No, no, no. We have money now. We agree on the money thing. So you have to allow everything you don't like to be next door to your house. Whatever you don't want. You don't like this, you got to have it. You don't like that, you say, So this is where the big rub with big government came. That's where Newt Gingrich comes in. Gingrich is like, whoa, time out, slow down, sex boy. The party's over. You got to get to a Congress, and he comes sweeping in. The response to Clinton was huge and loud. That was the contract with America. Newt Gingrich came in like ferocious because it was like the Tea Party. People are like, no way. We're not going for all this. We don't want anything he's talking about. Where'd he come up with this laundry list? We want zero on that list. We want him to stop spending and get real. No good. So that was the era of the Clinton. The Clinton is big spender, limousines, gala events. They wanted Reagan style for Democrats. You have people talk about, where are the Reagan Democrats now? That's Clinton. They became the answer to the right. And, if she would have done that, she would have gone down in history. She was doing great in 2002. No one hated her as a senator. She was very good. You know why? Because she wasn't a Looney Tune. If you see her Senate speeches, she gave in to George on going into Iraq. She said the right thing. She goes, look, I don't know if the damn weapons are there, but I'm not gonna get caught not going. If you don't go,
right,
and the weapons are there, then what? I did the right thing. I got a shot. You have to go. You're on offense here. Yeah, this isn't football. You can't throw a yellow flag. If he's got a gun and you don't know if he's got it, what do you have to do? He's got it. You have to go. Well, what if he's faking it? Okay. Better be. We're still here. We're still here. We were wrong about Iraq, Bernie. That's all he loves to say. Iraq. We're still here. Okay? Guess who's gone? That little scumbag that we never liked. So what are you going to give me grief about that? Are you going to give? I'm going to have to answer to you about. You were wrong. Okay. Yeah, I was wrong. We're still here. Okay. So that was her approach. That fit with a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans felt like that. So how do we know if there's any?
It would have been better though if we had not killed Saddam.
Well, yes and no. I mean, he was always.
They kept Iran in check.
I know,
and now nobody keeps Iran in check.
Well, yes and no. I mean, look, that area, no one has ever had it locked down. We had
that area is a mess.
You know, your heritage there in Israel is since my childhood. It's nothing but warfare. Loud warfare, low warfare. Terrorism. The biggest terrorists in the world are the Palestinians. They've killed more innocent Israelis.
They're horrible.
They fire rockets at apartment buildings. I don't know what kind of human beings fire at an apartment building. But do you fire at
Israel gives them aid to help with the schools and the medicine. You know what they do? They turn around and they build tunnels with the money.
The problem for them is they're two kinds of Palestinians. There's many Palestinians that love to be Israelis, and they have no qualm. They live in Jerusalem, and they love it. They're not complaining.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you want to live in a prosperous capitalistic society or under the thumb of Hamas? Give me a break. It's a no-brainer.
Listen, even historians at my level of just being an amateur, I like to read, you can see capitalism in the heart of the essence, in the core of the Arab history. We're still using Arabic numerals. You got to wake up. Why did a guy have a number system ready to go? Because he was a capitalist. He wanted to make deals. The best deal makers in the Middle East have always been Arabs. Arabs and Jews have a million things in common. You get the Arabs and Jews that like each other, they'd be there all day. Music, food, the climate, the women, but the people have made a life. You know who it is? It's the same crowd with Fidel Castro. They make a lifestyle out of attacking something just to give themselves something to do. That's all. If you look back at Arafat, people always bring him up in history. The sum total of his presence on the scene was a zero. It wound up with nothing. There's no a thing to gain opposing Israel for the Palestinians. They're going to have to fight, but they've been told, they've been spoon-fed, and look, once you get poor people crazy, they love having an enemy. It takes it off their empty stomach. It takes it off their nomadic lifestyle. So,
plus, if they kill an Israeli, they are considered a martyr, and the family gets money.
This is the thing about the Arabs now. The Arabs have to come together in the world post 9/11, post all
They're
this.
Starting to.
And
they are starting to.
They do. They just have to say, look, man, we all want Mercedes-Benz and condominiums. Nobody wants a Quonset hut anymore. Nobody wants a camel walking across the desert unless it's vacation. You want to get away for a few days. Yeah. So
they just need to modernize. They're stuck in the 6th century.
They love it. They
wake
love it.
Up.
They
Come
love it.
on over to the 21st century, people.
They love it because it gives them control. You know, Christians like this too. There's Christians, they want to live like it's back in the Old Testament. In New York, they're always having problems right now. A lot of Orthodox Jews do not go along with health advisories if it interferes with their religious belief. They're notorious.
I know. Did you see they turned a fire truck on a funeral on Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn?
Right.
I just watching a video.
It's terrible.
Because they refused to disperse and then they started to protest.
So this is the world we're in when it comes to that issue. Listen, that's another great thing about the podcast. I've said before, it's easier with all that stuff I mentioned, right? You write it up, what it is, put up pictures. When you do all of that, you can make a permanent record of stuff. It does take a little time. It's not always commercially rewarding. A lot of times all this stuff becomes a great donation to society. But it is at least a way of retaining better. We weren't retaining very well for the last 30 years. There's no retention. You can't say, do you know about this? And they go, no. Have you heard of this? They go, no. See, they have so much in the present tense. None of their normal daily activities are taking a look at where we've been to see where you are. How are you going to know where you are if you don't know where you've been? But if I keep getting an update on where I am every 2 seconds, I have no time to check where I've been. You know what I mean? Of course I would, but they won't. They don't let you. Wolf Blitzer is in on Saturday. And you know what his headline was? Not to get into him, but here we go. Awful New York Times front page on how Trump blew the virus in January. This is sick. This is what we're doing now. This is a big...
Give me a break. Nobody knew that it was going to end up like this. Nobody has a crystal ball.
Center for Disease Control, World Health Organization, these are the people you look...
World Health Organization blew it.
That's who you look to. That's what they're there. Like he said. I mean, he said it at the press conference. First of all, the organization should not be in bed with China. You can't have a guy, China this, China that.
I told you why they are.
Yeah, I know. No, you're right. You're right.
My father told me that. That's how I knew.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Say it again. What is your explain that a little bit for people who are hearing you now and they don't know what you thought. Go ahead. Recap that.
Okay. The head of the WHO is from Ethiopia. And Ethiopia is in debt to China because they put in a failed high-speed rail where they will never be able to pay it back. Mm-hmm. So basically, China owns Ethiopia at this point. Right. And so he is carrying the water for China because he's from Ethiopia, and that's probably what his government is forcing him to do.
Can I tell you what a tragedy this is? May I? It's hard for you. You're so young. I'm so much older than you. I have to give you. Do you know what a great tragedy this is for Ethiopia? when I was a
It
kid,
is terrible.
Ethiopia was a great country, but they had a severe poverty. So we were
Yeah.
always in the little kids hearing about money for Ethiopia, help. But Ethiopia also had this guy Haile Selassie, and they had people with the Zion Coptic belief. Do you ever heard of the Zion Coptics?
No.
Oh, you're gonna love
I
these
know what
guys.
Zions are.
Yes, you do. Take the Zion and go to the Coptic man. You got to take the Zion. We're marching to Zion. Have you heard Bob Marley ever sing about Zion? We are going to Zion.
Yes, I
Yes, they are
have.
going to Zion. So Zion is a very Zion is in your culture and in their culture. This is the great destination. We are all going to Zion. So Ethiopia is a warm, what's the word? A passionate, tactile, which is out of vogue now. I understand, but they're very people driven. They're driven on the much better way of expressing this. The spirit and the soul of the Ethiopian and Haile Selassie and the world as it was at that time, full of warfare, man's inhumanity to man, and Ethiopia has very little. We have very little to defend ourselves, but we have who we are. You know what I mean? That's who they were. Now, as you describe them, do you see the tragedy of this? You see how awful that is for them to come. I think you said it, under the thumb, like that Rolling Stone song, under my thumb, I'm China pressing on Ethiopia.
They will never be able to repay back China, and China is doing this on purpose so they can pretty much take over these countries. They've done it here on our own continent, down in South America. In Panama, they're just in Panama's in debt to China, so they now have a toehold on our continent.
The toehold. That's the toehold. I like that. I've been thinking, what is a great name for the podcast? Maybe the podcast is called The
Toehold.
I love the toehold. Ed, Tyll, and Lisa, and on the toehold. That's terrific. The toehold. I just see it. And then the logo could be a toe, a single toe holding on to a fire escape in the Bronx. It'd be a Bronx fire escape. One last toe. Wow, the toehold.
Hanging on for dear life.
Listen, she's.
So tell me, Edward. Tell me about your aunt. What's going
90.
on
It's
with her?
She's 96, and she is resting comfortably. They pray. They said she was very antsy, very upset that she'd gotten the virus. How did this happen? She's very upset.
So she has COVID.
She does. Now, I want to say it's very important about whether she lives or dies. So this is a critical nuance. She tested positive, but it was not the reason that the doctors came in the room. She's already in a nursing home, and she was unresponsive because of, as a nurse explained to me, she has various other morbidity factors. It's a heavy word, but that's what, if you think about it, she has morbidity. I mean, she's 96. Everything in her is 96, right? Organs, right.
Right.
So, it's not immediately clear that she's suffering COVID. It is absolutely clear that she's exposed. She has antibodies for COVID, but she was not gasping for air at all. She's not respiratorily but she was flagging as a 96-year-old. As my other aunt, who is my godmother, 81, her baby sister, right, the youngest of the girls. My mom would have been 100. My mom would be 100.
Tina
next
would be
birthday,
100.
right? Tina would be 100 next birthday. It's insane. She's right now. She'd be Edward. Don't tell everybody I'm 99. Still be lying about her age. So anyway, Aunt Addie, 96. So Adeline, bless her heart, she could be just exhausting, along with the easy. I mean, there's no way she was gonna not catch it. I mean, it was in Westchester County. It was the first place it showed up in New York, right near her nursing
Right.
home. Right? I mean, remember the hot spot in Rye? Remember the
New Rochelle.
New Rochelle? Pardon me. Right in New Rochelle.
New Rochelle.
New Rochelle is 1 mile from Ann Adelaide.
Oh.
Okay, so she was in the hot spot. So it's not a, now my cousin
And
John.
she's in a nursing home, and it seems to be like going and ravishing these nursing homes.
Because that's where the lowest resistance that anybody would have is. There's two places.
That's really where you'd see the effects because they're elderly.
Number one, and they have conditions. Now,
Yeah.
my Aunt Addie, I have to give it up, though. Aunt Addie, all right. She had to go into this nursing home at the age of 94 was when she had to give up her apartment. So even that, she did very well on holding an apartment till 94. But when she went in there, Lisa, no medications went with her. She had no pill bottles. She was not on any
Right.
therapies at all. Making her own dinner, eating chicken, eating hamburgers on her own. Like nothing that was like, oh, she has to have this food. Oh, she has to have an IV. Oh, all that happened to get her into the nursing home was the walking. You know, you wobble.
Right.
So she wobbled
Yeah.
out, she wobbled, and she had a walker. So, and Addie, like all people with walkers, all right, it's only 2 steps. I'm not going to get the walker all the way around. I can make these 2 steps. So she missed, and she went down in the center of her living room floor. She was not. She's not a screamer like for every little pain. So the pain was not excruciating. So she wasn't yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling. Every once in a while, she would say, "Hey, is anybody near the door? I've fallen." But it wasn't panic, screaming, none of that.
Right.
So my cousin comes for his regular hello. And he finds her, and she knew he was coming. As the time went by, she goes, "Well, John will be here." He walks in. Of course, he's flipped out. You see your mom on the floor. She's got a little bit of blood. You know, it's a freak out. You're an only child. You have nobody you could turn to. So he called me. You know, I'm the other only child in the family. We're on the phone there. And that night was very difficult. But she came through like a trooper. It took her arm forever and a little bit of blood forever to heal, but she healed up. 100% healed up. Now, the bad news is at that age, they will not let you go back into your apartment. You know what I mean? It would,
Not unless somebody lives with you.
and in those days, now it's probably even more complicated, but even then, that's a big rigmarole, and it's money. It's the whole thing. Wasn't going to happen. Was not going to happen. If she needed a 24-hour, she was going to have to go into community living. Now, this is, America
Right.
knows all about this. This is the great American experience. When grandma goes to the nursing home, when dad's gone and mom's alone. So I love all these people. I love all my elderlies out there, me and my elderly people. I do stand-up comedy for elderly people. I sing songs for elderly people. I do storytelling with Ed Tyll for elderly people. I love my when I was a little kid, I hung out with my grandfather. He was 80. I was 6. We were best friends.
Yeah.
We were best friends. I
My
told him.
grandfather was my favorite.
Thing. He was angry, and he would always correct me. I love this guy. He was like a pistol. What are you doing with that? What's about? Let me show you something. It was always fixing, and he was always right. I never saw him get it wrong. He never said anything like using the wrong wrench. Ever miss us. So this is it. To me, they're always. I should have been Asian because I worship the elders. Right, isn't that today? All the elders are throw them out the window. We hate history. We hate the white man. You hate everything. I love the elders and can't enjoy them enough. So there you go.
I agree. They are fonts of wisdom. Oh, my God. You could learn so much just from sitting there with them.
So there you have it. She's doing okay tonight, But I think any day, oh, you want to hear the nicest thing you could hear on a telephone from a nurse. I'm calling from 1,100 miles away. She's age 96. It's obvious why I'm calling. I mean, every nurse I spoke to, okay. Let me say, it just, hi, my aunt is 96, and she was admitted, and she tested for COVID. Oh, okay. That's like the most sympathetic in the building. They're not supposed to
Right.
make it. I mean, it's like the death chamber for them. All right. So, Corrine is her name. Isn't that a beautiful name? Corrine. Coreen. Her nurse is Corrine. So Nurse Corrine says to me, well, Edward, she goes, I think your aunt is Catholic, isn't she? I go, Corrine, that's so sweet. I said, yes, she is. I prayed with her, and I want you to know. Oh, my God. So here we go. Yeah, yeah. So then she says it like this, and now you know she really did it. You say, well, is she saying that? Or
She's
did she really
surrounded by love.
She is. And at Westchester Medical Center, a major, major hospital, literally wings and doctors as far as the eye can see, a massive campus. Okay. Here's how you know she really did do this with my aunt. Are you ready for the acid proof? Because anybody could say that. Well, I just want you to know
Right.
we all pray. Now, here's how she said it to me. She goes, I want you to know I prayed with her, but of course, it was difficult when I had to say it was time to stop praying. I said, oh, that's my Aunt Addie. Okay, Adeline, we're going to have to stop. Yeah, well, can't we just do one more prayer? I said, definitely she hooked up with Aunt Addie. So that's the best.
So she's responsive. She's talking, your Aunt
That's what
Addie.
I'm saying. She's being herself. She's herself
Okay.
100% during the coronavirus trying to kill her. Coronavirus is inside Aunt Addie right now. I think Aunt Addie's lungs have every machine gun they can find because you don't even know this. No one knows this. I'm saying this for the first time. 2 weeks ago, I got lucky and spoke to Aunt Addie. It's not easy to get a 96-year-old woman on the phone at the right time to take your call. I got lucky 2
Right.
weeks ago. I was talking to Aunt Florence, and I go, I said, you're home now from the jewelry store. You should try Adeline, just on random. You're going to get lucky and get through. So right after I said that, I go, why don't you try your Aunt Adeline? Random. Boom. First try. Hello, Edward. I go, oh, my God, I got her. I go, hi, Aunt Addie. She goes, Edward, this virus is terrible. That was the opening line. She didn't have it. She was worried about everybody getting it. 2 weeks ago, Aunt Addie couldn't have been more concerned. I don't want the nurses to get it. I don't want this one ever. She was telling me all the people that should be extra careful.
Oh.
How's that? No, I mean, seriously.
Well-
Come on. That's a bright woman. She's on the case.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So I
And
have.
she's not worried about herself. She's worried about everyone else.
And she was well informed. She had all the good information. She wasn't missing a trick at the age of 96. So,
She must be listening to Trump's briefing.
oh my God. Well, see, that's the thing, though. Aunt Addie hates Trump. Oh, my God. If you
I'm not
only know.
surprised.
Well, her son is a leftist who goes to China.
Oh,
He's pro-China. You know what I mean? So
there you go.
Yeah, but God bless her. Tonight, I don't know. I mean, I have to be honest. Maybe she is going to pass tonight. I mean, I thought last night, okay, things change. Do you know about 5 o'clock in the morning for elderly sick? 5 a.m. is
Yeah.
the most dangerous.
Isn't that the twilight?
So it's the most dangerous hour. The blood pressure always goes low for everybody, but for them, heartbeat, everything gets really, really quiet. So you got to watch when you're old, and you're challenged. That's always the thing. How are they doing at 7? You look in, if it's all good at 7, but if you had to get an emergency, 5:25, 5:45, 6:15, those are always tough. I've had those in my family. We lost 2 older folks in that deep, deep valley of the 4:30, 4:45. Starts to get challenging. So anyway, here we are. She's going. I think you 50-50 bet she pulls this out. I say Aunt Addie is not a goner with the COVID, but she's 96. So that's what I'm saying. My
But
read.
she's not in there for shortness of breath. You said she's in there for something unrelated.
See, the thing is, nothing's unrelated. That's what the woman's telling me last night, Corrine. You have to understand, at 96, the entire baseball stadium, any seat can pop. You follow?
Right.
Any
Oh,
door.
yeah, no, I understand that, but it might not be because of the coronavirus. It just might be her time.
Oh, you're correct about that. That's what I think would be so amazing if the COVID virus tried to kill her and she was able to hold it at bay and go on her own stuff. That's my Aunt Ed.
Yeah.
Like, that's my grandfather,
Yeah.
same way. Like, I'm not going, COVID virus. I got problems without you. So you could stay right there. But now, if she does get it, you got to give it up for her, too. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's a point at which you can't hold the door and the tanks come in and they just roll over your house. So whatever, it's very fascinating for me as a part of her DNA to see how she's negotiating this, right? I mean, it is a little window into how your people are when they're under fire and there's no more cavalry, right? No one can rescue you. This is where you're going to go out. This is going to be your spot on the battlefield, right?
Hey, but miracles happen. 100-year-old man in China recovered.
Didn't you love that? Didn't you love that story? I told it right away to my other aunt.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I told my other aunt because I don't want my other aunt to give up either. I go, hey, the guy's
No.
101. He's 101, which I love. I just love that 101 is a deal because I know I'm either going soon or I'm going way later. There's a bunch of my family that goes right around where I am or earlier, actually. I'm already in the clear. I'm already in the beginning of where nobody goes. We've had people that always go in their late 50s, unexpectedly from health. It's always health. They didn't know they had heart cancer. Okay, but when you get to the 60s, nobody goes. Nobody ducks in the city. You get to the upper 70s, then they start again. But I could be in a window of my DNA, or I'm going to mark the oldest of the early goes. Like, I could still be an early go, and they lump me in with the 50s, right? Because I'm 64. But once I make it to
There you go.
once I make it to 65, I think you're way out of your 50s now. Now you clearly have made it to your 60s. It could be open running for me in the DNA.
You know what's really funny, Edward?
Mm.
When I picture you, I don't picture you now. I picture you when I knew you 25 years ago. So when I'm talking to you and I picture you in my head, I have that 39-year-old guy I knew and not the 65-year-old that's talking on the phone right now.
That's hilarious. I'm glad you said that. I never did the math. I was in my 30s when I met you.
You were 39 when we were dating, yeah.
Wow, that is
and
a
I'm
long
23.
Yeah. Edward Tyll.
You cradle robber. I knew what I was
Tyll.
doing. I seduced you.
Well, you have to admit there are different maturity levels. And when you get into men and women, it's tricky enough. If you can get the maturity levels aligned, the company is much better. I mean, things are still going to go what they go, but the ride is much better. You get mismatches, and it breaks your heart.
Yeah.
You have a best friend, and they go like, "Oh, dude, she doesn't know anything about bowling." So you don't tell her what you. I don't even mention it. If I bring up bowling, she makes fun of it. Bowling is on TV where she turns it right off. I go, but dude, you have a bowling ball. It's the same. I know. It's trouble. You really...
And, some women are allowed to handle. I'm allowed to handle. I need an older guy to be able to handle that. You need experience to be able to, handle a girl like me.
You do. You really do. There's people who want to be operated out of the manual, and life experience is not a big deal to them. They just have the way they are, and everything comes out of their manual. Then there's other people who live their life. Who knows what life is next year, next week, next century? You don't pretend that you know. Even when you're in school like a kid, there's all these people in high school. Well, I'm going to do this. And you go, really? How do you know? Well, because I'm doing this other thing, and this other thing is going to lead to that. Oh, say, man, there's a world out there that's going to have a lot to say about what you do. So I try to resist that, but people love knowing how it is. Oh, yeah, no, this is what I'm looking for is a blah blah and a blah. You hate to hear people deluding themselves that they have the perfect manual to life. Experience.
Yeah, it's like saying when you go to buy a house, well, it has to have this, this, and this, and when you buy the house, it never has any of that stuff.
Exactly. Always. You know what I love? It's funny you bring that up. There's an ad. Everybody has advertising now. Major Toyota and Chevrolet.
I'm sure.
Have ads for COVID-19. So the one I saw tonight was, are you ready for this ad? It's brilliant. This shows you geniuses are still in the advertising business because it's a tough assignment. Give me an ad that sells a car right now. Okay. Do you know what the ad said?
What?
Okay. Here's a brand new car. We know how bad you need a car no matter what's going on. We'll make it touch-free, deliver. I'm like, wow, they're geniuses. Like, they just made it like you're supposed to, like, we have to get the car. I don't understand. COVID, Corona, death, or whatever. When do we get in the car? Like, we have to get this car. I've never seen, in my life, I've never seen anybody get a car. Like, we have to get this car. What is going on? This coronavirus, people are dropping dead. I don't care. Hospitals are strapped. The governor's, I don't care. We have to get the car. What in God's name could make a car that you have to get the car, but the ad shows a cute couple. They're sitting on the couch, and they have to get the car. Can you imagine? You have to get the car. There's the ad. I go, my God.
There you go.
It's genius, isn't it? You say to them, I know you have to get that car.
Absolutely.
You have to get that car, don't you? I mean, what is it? Who has to get a car? Somebody whose car blew up yesterday in a mobster movie? Isn't that who has to get a car? Another car, a new car. Who has to buy a car during COVID? No one. But God bless them. There's going to be one couple like that, isn't there? There is going to be. Oh, my God, the car blew up yesterday. We haven't had a car for 3 days, and there's COVID. We're running out of masks. We don't have a car. Isn't it?
Life happens. Cars break down. Everything happens, and life isn't going to stop for a disease. It's still marching along.
Well, listen. It's an important thing to have these podcasts. So I think we did pretty good here. Now, at this point in the podcast, if there's anything you wanted to mention, you could throw it in. Because I'm getting ready to wrap it up.
I want to ask you something.
Yeah,
I want to ask you one thing.
I was going to say, any questions that you have, now is the time. I'm taking, that's perfect. I'm taking questions now at the end. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you happen to say if she does pass, how are they handling funerals? I mean, how are they going to work all that? Have you talked to them about that?
You're talking about the nurse that I spoke to?
Yeah, I mean, if she does pass, I mean, are you allowed to collect the body? Are you allowed to have a burial?
Oh my God!
If she passes away, I mean, because she has COVID, are they not able to release the body? I mean, I have no idea. I was just curious.
Fascinating.
If that had come up.
What kind of booze does your husband keep in the house? What does he got for when he needs a shot? What does he pour up there? What's he got in his liquor cabinet?
He maybe has some wine and beer.
He's got no hard liquor for like a tough announcement?
No,
really?
I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Oh, I never knew this. So you have to be alcohol free. Oh.
No, I mean, I don't have to. I haven't drank in 4 years. Trust me, you don't want me to drink.
Right. But he doesn't have hard liquor around. That wouldn't be okay.
No,
all right. Well, okay.
No.
So it's interesting. Well, I guess a good wine. I guess a good expensive wine.
He's not really a drinker.
So he doesn't even drink the wine.
He's not a drinker.
He's not a beer. How about cold beer? Well, now what's this? Yeah. What kind of cold beer is cold in the house right now?
He likes Corona.
Hey, Corona. Oh, you're laughing at him now because he's not. That's a lightweight beer. Is that
No,
it?
because I'm thinking like everybody's like been like dumping out
Oh,
their
on the
Corona
name, on
beer.
the name Corona beer. You know, didn't we do a bit
Yeah.
about that? Did you and I do a bit on that?
No, we did not.
There's a bit I did. Oh, I did it with Alan Klein. I did a bit with my friend Alan Klein about that. When coronavirus first came out, I did a bit where an advertising executive goes to Corona Beer. And he says, listen, man, you guys are having a tough time. They call this thing the coronavirus and you're the Corona Beer. And you guys have to capitalize on it. You can't run away from it. You got to put out a new beer right now called Virus. Virus beer from Corona. It's a hilarious bit. The guy doesn't want to buy it at all. Anyway, your husband,
That's funny.
and a cold Corona, and me and a cold Corona one day are gonna explore you and your questioning. Is wise. He's in agreement with me that you're perfect for what you're doing. You are a natural investigative reporter. What about Aunt Addie's body? Were you just asking what happens to Aunt Addie's dead body? Do we bury it, set it on fire? We're taking her to Burning Woman. I mean, instead of Burning Man, they canceled Burning Man today. We're going to bring Aunt Addie out to the middle of Westchester. I'm going to take her.
Well, I don't think they're allowed to hold funerals right now. So
No, you're not.
I don't even.
I'm going to bring her there, but I'm going to say we, as the collective we, on behalf of the family. I'll take Aunt Addie. I'll walk up the side of a mountain, and I'll say a ritualistic prayer. I'll set her on fire, and everybody in the family could look up and see her burning on the mountainside. And
Give her a Viking funeral.
that's it. And we would say that Aunt Addie was a flame. Aunt Addie was a burning bush, if you will. You want to use the Old Testament. She was a fiery, uncontrollable personality, but she was for good. Aunt Addie was for good. Aunt Addie was helping with the coronavirus right down till the end. So let's see. My guess is she pulls us out. I got $10.
Yeah, I have a feeling that if she sounds like she's like my personality. She's like, I'm not going to let this disease get me. I'm going to wait at least another 2 weeks.
You're dead serious on that. You are very much like Aunt Addie. Aunt Addie should have been a redhead, honestly. Aunt Addie was a very she snuck in on you because she had that jet black hair. Aunt Addie had that jet black.
Well, of course, she's Italian. Of course, she had jet black.
Well, yeah, her sisters and brothers had the brown. In other words, she was the shocking, darkest haired of the 5 children. Was she
the black sheep of the family?
A little bit. I mean, she was very aggressive. She was second in command. Uh-oh. Is somebody need attention there? Somebody find you?
No.
I thought I heard his voice. His voice is on one of the podcasts. When he came up the other day, Daddy yelled at me because I don't know where my iPad is. That was crazy.
Yeah, because he hid it because he didn't want to do his work.
Listen, I'm all for Daddy on that. I think Daddy's doing a great job. You have to teach them with a stern voice. Well, anyway, great podcast. So a good podcast. So what we'll do is this now wraps up on Saturday night. It's going to be available shortly, and then I will send you a link, and then everybody who gets it can share it now. That'll be the deal. Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty good.
So this is my first official podcast.
Now, I want to say there's got to be a way to visually bring you into the cast. So what's going to happen in the beginning, when this link comes out, it can still be opened, and they can add pictures of you that are up on the screen. Now, I've never done this.
Sure.
You've heard of this? Everybody, all the kids know how to do this.
No, I've never done a podcast, so I'm sure there's ways to do everything.
That's the point. The point is, first of all, you can, now that it's a podcast, you can listen to it anywhere. On your phone, in the house, hunkered down, whatever you're doing. So it's all good. And it airs live when we do them. That's another one, right? I'm going to have more advance notice, and they'll be able to know, oh, I want to hear it live, and you can catch it right on the website. Isn't that the easiest of all? Pretty soon to be an Ed Tyll app Do you know the apps are like now? You got to have an app for your phone. So
Yes, I have a Florida Man radio app. So
aren't
I
they the
can,
best? This is why I really didn't need an app. I really thought, well, they've got a great app. They got a great website. I love being with those guys. But somebody said, "What are you going to do with these podcasts?" I said, "All right, you're right. You got me." So we'll get all that. Also, your studio. Oh my God! You know what I love about technology. We're getting you off the phone, which is going to be great. It's going to be like we're in the same
Thank
room.
God, because my arm is tired already.
Isn't it? It gets tired of holding it. So it's
My ear
fantastic.
hurts.
It's so fantastic. I did find something that you can plug into the wall, plug in your microphone, and hit the on switch and just go. So that took a while. I did not know about that the last time we spoke. So there is something, you plug it in, you stick the headphones on your head, and
You
you go.
send me whatever you need to. I'm married to Inspector Gadget. He can do anything. So
Yeah,
send
we're
me
good to
what
go.
you want. Send me whatever you want, and my husband will be able to rock it out in 10 minutes, or at least find a YouTube video to figure it out.
Exactly. That's it. When in doubt. When in
He's
doubt.
a technological genius.
You gotta
I
be.
am not in the least worried about that.
All we need is exactly what we have. So I think we're all set to go. All right. So where are you on Facebook? People want to find you on Facebook. Do you have like also your friends? All these Trump people, our listeners would love to commingle with all your Trump friends. So make sure that.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's it. So get on there with. How do they look you up on Facebook?
Well, I'm under Lisa Bennett Joseph.
Bing. That's it. How easy is that? Just one more time. Say it slow.
Lisa Bennett Joseph.
Bada bing. Now, probably we should get you somehow attached to all the show social media. So we should probably, there should be a place where they don't have to interfere with your personal life, but they could do all the show stuff. You know, you said this to Ed, and Ed said this to you, and where'd you come up? All of that should happen somewhere. So you think?
Yeah. Well, I tell everybody almost every day, hey, come on out and listen. I'm going live on the Ed Tyll Show.
There you go. So we should find something that you can be found at specifically for the show. I don't know if we want your full.
Sure.
Yeah, we probably don't want your full name and your whole family background. Just a show spot for you. So it probably maybe the thing is, how about this? Maybe you just take over the Ed Tyll Show page. As it, you know what I mean? Like
Which one? You have like 12.
Well, no, it was exactly right. So I got one. I got one that is for now. I have a current one. So I think what'll happen is maybe you know this term. There's something called the admin. You become an admin. You're going to be able to go on there.
Yeah, I'm an admin on many groups.
Yeah, I knew it. So good. All right, so that's what we'll do with you. We'll personalize the show page with a lot of you. You can put pictures, the groups that you're with, the Trump things that you've done, so that listeners of the show will find all your goodies there that you do. You've done a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, you do a lot of stuff.
I have friends from coast to coast that are hardcore Trump-supporting patriots.
You got those, and you know what else you
come
got?
out to all my events.
You got all.
Rallies.
You got it, and you got all the vegetables and the gardening and the prepping and the how to. All of that is a big public service. So I would like to put all of that, just put all of that on the Ed Tyll page, in addition to everything else you put it. You know, I don't as many places as you want to put it.
Yeah, no, I can manage to post on that, no problem.
Yeah.
I could have posted a video of Justin today rocking and rolling on his new motorcycle.
Well, that stuff I
the
like.
place.
That stuff I like. But see, that's what I'm kind of saying. I don't want that on the show page. You know what I mean? I don't like the I don't like the public.
No, that will be going on fine.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right.
no.
But I love that. The profile that you present of the American family is great. Because here I am. I'm a playboy still. They're like, Ed Till's still not married. Ed Till's still not married. Ed Till's still dating, still looking for the girl. So you present this beautiful. Your husband got him going on the motorbike the other day, and your husband's got the camo pants. He's a little squirt on the bike. I mean, you might as well just start playing the national anthem. The America the Beautiful. Where's Kate Smith? It's America the Beautiful, Purple Magic. There's nothing better. I think my comment was perfect. I wrote perfect.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Do you know in 5 days it's my birthday?
I don't know how it really. Wow, we're gonna have to celebrate on the air this week.
April 16th.
Wow, tax day. You're a tax day baby. Wow, that's hilarious.
The day after tax season ends. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to be 22.
Yeah, well, my mom used to be 28. No matter how many times I asked her, my whole childhood, I go, Mom, how old are you? She goes, 28. I come back like 5 years later, Mom, how old are you? She goes, 28. I go, but you always say 28. She goes, that's how old I am. And then finally I got old enough, and I go, so what's the big deal? You don't want me to know how old you are? She goes, that's right. Now, how did I find out my mom's real age? How did I find out my mom's real age?
I have no idea.
You will not believe. How does if your mom wanted to hide it her entire life, when can she no longer hide it? When
she passes away.
I got a look and I went, oh my God, you were not born in 1921. She lied about it. Was great. She didn't want me to know she was 5 years older than my dad. Is that great?
Oh.
Is that great? Yeah.
She was like the younger boy.
Exactly. She was already in Manhattan doing her deal. She'd grown up in the Bronx, but she had like a great Manhattan job. So when you go out after your job in Manhattan, you meet Manhattan guys. My dad is over in Hell's Kitchen, chewing on a toothpick, like Marlon Brando in The Wild Ones. Hey, Eddie, what are you doing? I don't know. What do you got? What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want? My dad was ready any moment, a tough guy. And my mom's like, oh, he's so handsome. So they went to a dance. They went to the YWCA dance, and that's it. He won her over, baby, with the dance steps and the harmonica. He had the harmonica on the first date. He's no dope. My dad was, he knew. So that was it, man. She was in right away, captivated.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's it, man. That's the way it works. That's the way they do. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? Supposed to be all about that. Not supposed to be about what it became. I don't want a website telling me who I'm attracted to. Why would a website know what I want? How can a website address what I'm looking for?
It can.
No.
It has to happen naturally.
You got it. Ringo always said that. You got to act naturally. That's the Beatles song. All I got to do is act naturally. Bum, bum, bum. All right, well, listen, great job. So you'll be all over the Ed Tyll Show page next week. If people want to know more, tell us more about Lisa. Lisa, what are your thoughts on nuclear disarmament? Lisa, how do you get organic peanut butter? Lisa, I have predator toe. My second toe is longer than my big toe. Where do I get shoes that make my feet look small? Aren't those girl questions? Girls always want to know. Where do you get good shoes that make your feet look small?
I have no idea about that. Here, Florida girls, we all wear sandals, so who cares? We let it all hang out.
Shoes. Come on, who wears shoes? Ed Tyll.
Get a couple of pairs of cute reefs, and you're good to go.
Ed Till's living in the past. Ed Till's asking about shoes. What else you want to ask? Why don't you ask how Donna Reed is doing down at the club? Why don't you see if she's at the
Right now, all the girls are obsessed with eyebrows. Ooh.
Hey.
Where did you get your eyebrows done?
You know,
it's all about eyebrow sculpting.
I love when you see two women sitting side by side in an audience and their eyebrows look like seagulls. It looks like two seagulls are flying. Side by, you go, oh my God, look at the seagulls. And you go, they're not seagulls, those are eyebrows. And you have to remember what you're trying to say to the audience because the seagulls are so captivating. They seem to be just going at their own speed, yet they get no closer to you. It looks like they're flying right